Boom.
Howdy y'all, I'm giving a speech on gendered bathrooms and the implications of defining how they're used and whether or not we should have them. Bathrooms have long been a source of controversy throughout American society. Back in the 1960s, it was common practice to have racially segregated bathrooms in addition to bathrooms segregated by sex or gender. And I think that a lot of this, as we've progressed as a society, we've moved on from being racist, and we've let go of some of those policies, and this whole issue regarding bathrooms has moved a lot more towards the nuances of who is permitted in which bathroom and the stability of this rigid binary system we've created. And I think a lot of this debate boils down to two topics: how we are defining who fits into which box of this binary, and the safety of individuals in these bathrooms. The World Health Organization defines sex as the biological characteristics that define someone as female or male. And the World Health Organization also defines gender as the characteristics associated with specific genders, such as men or women or boys or girls, in a social construct. With these definitions, with the definition of sex, it sounds like there is a very black and white box that everyone can fit into for sex. However, there are so many instances where people do not fit into either of these boxes. Numerous people are born with ambiguous genitalia and are given surgery right after birth to fit into one of these rigid boxes. And some people even have chromosomes that don't align with their bodies. And I think that this is proof of how unstable and inconsistent this rigid binary is. And when we look at the gender, it's clear that gender is just a construct. We've decided to assign traits to these sexes, and it's clear that there's a large spectrum of gender. And there's individuals who identify as women and present very masculine, and there are individuals who identify as men and present in very feminine ways, yet they are still men and women. The incongruencies and ambiguity in this spectrum of what we try to make a binary brings a lot of the controversy to this topic, and is why it's so difficult to define who goes into the women's bathroom and who goes into the men's bathroom. The other strong issue with this is safety. There's a lot of concerns that if we allow people who are biologically male into the women's bathroom, it'll increase risks of sexual assault in women. But it is clear through and through that putting restrictions on who's allowed in what bathroom wouldn't really stop men from being predators if they wanted to engage in predatory behaviors. Another issue that I don't feel is thoroughly addressed when talking about this is the safety of queer individuals and individuals of gender nonconforming identities. I have a friend who is gender nonconforming, and in the 8th grade, they went several weeks without using the bathroom at school because regardless of whether or not they went in the men's or women's bathroom, they would be harassed, and they got a UTI and had to go to the doctor for it because of it. There are other concerns regarding the woman's respect or protection in this debate, such as that there's a lack of comfort if people who appear to be men are in the bathrooms. The International Women's Forum emphasizes the importance of women's spaces outside of bathrooms, like locker rooms. And I think it's clear that blurring the lines of this rigid binary, while presented as a safety issue, could lead to a lot more inclusivity. There's a lot of benefits to either extreme of solving this issue, such as having binary bathrooms. It allows privacy for people with strong religious backgrounds. There's more dignity and respect for women in these spaces. It follows tradition, and it's generally considered safer for women. Having unisex bathrooms would be more inclusive for all identities. It would make it easier for parents with children of the opposite gender to take their child to the bathroom without judgment or harassment, there would be fewer bathrooms that we would have to build in public spaces, such as schools. And some would argue that they're less safe. I have a friend who travels the road, and expressed to me that if they had unisex bathrooms in truck stops, they would feel unsafe using those bathrooms because men, creepy truckers, could follow her into the bathroom. My speech was about gendered bathrooms and their implications. Thank you. My name is Bailey Workman.
Everyone first, put it down. I have 2 comments.
Go.
Or actually 3. I loved your speech. It was really well written, very well mapped out. I think everybody would just be much happier. Why? I never got the idea of people being super mad at somebody going in, or not from your perspective, so to speak, but I guess super conservative people who think people fit in one box or another being very mad to the point where they're just trying to strip any gray area that anybody falls into, such as like people who are gender fluid, non-binary folk, and things of that nature, when they can just add more family bathrooms, individual bathrooms that people can go into. And I also, when you made the argument that some people argue that maybe people will like creep on them more, and people are predators anywhere.
Yes.
People are predators. Absolutely.
It's unavoidable. Like, just like, I would argue that just because there's no laws saying men can't go into the woman's bathroom doesn't stop men who want to go into the woman's bathroom and take advantage of women. That doesn't stop it. Like, putting a law there in place would not stop it from happening.
But I do understand people being nervous about the unisex bathrooms. Like you said, your friend is worried about going to truck stops and people just following them in. Which is why I never saw why wouldn't we just put more individual like family bathrooms, the ones that don't have a specific like skirt or pants figuring on them that have locks on each.
I think we should just have all the bathrooms be like Buc-ee's.
Well, no.
What do you mean no?
Wait.
It's a whole bunch of individual stalls, floor to ceiling, with like actual doors that shut and lock.
So individual rooms.
Yes, and then
like family bathrooms.
Yeah, and then we have a big place where we can all wash our hands, because everyone should be washing their hands in the bathroom. That's all that matters. If you're going to use the bathroom, just wash your hands. Vincent.
Okay, so you say there should be more unisex bathrooms and things, and that could be a good idea, but okay, so there's always, like, since forever, it's always been male bathroom, female bathroom. So if you take this step and you have more unisex bathrooms, do you think that could advance in the future? So now you have bathrooms, now you have unisex locker rooms, and it could go to the point where there's no division, and that could, like, maybe not so immediately with the bathroom thing, but like as you implement more and more unisex things, that could cause more issues.
Actually, let me tell you, back in like long ago, in a lot of more Eastern societies, it was very common for there to be less. There's more fluidity between this binary system we have, and there were in I think like Polynesian cultures, like there were all these divisions. It wasn't just men and women. There were people who were in between, and there wasn't an expectation that men did X and women did Y, and that people who were in between did X, Y, and Z, or did nothing of those. And I think that the concept of having this rigid binary system is a very Western thing, and I think that it originated for the sake of controlling women and being more restrictive.
Thank your Puritans for that.
My what?
Puritans in the
Puritans.
1600s.
God bless America.
That's when most of that
God,
came
don't
into
say
play,
that
because
so loud.
before that, like you had the gender neutral pronouns, you had everybody doing everything together.
Yeah, and I think that this binary exists for the sake of controlling women and for spreading hate. Everyone, like, I think my whole point about how there are people who identify as women and present very masculine, and men who do the exact opposite, like, I think that's just proof that it's all bullshit, because pardon my French, I think it's just such nonsense to say that if you do X, Y, and Z, you're a woman, because there are people who don't do X, Y, and Z and identify as a woman. Anyone else?
Fabulous. Thank you.